Hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day. Before we begin the video, please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. General Hospital fans know Jason Morgan's Steve Burton, one of the hottest hunks in Port Charles, but how many times has he put a ring on it? Aside from Sam McCall, Kelly Monaco, Jason had other meaningful relationships as well over the years on GH. Take a walk down memory lane with the other loves of Jason's life on the ABC soap opera. Longtime GH fanatics may recall Brenda Barrett. Vanessa Marcel was Jason Morgan's first wife. However, it was only for legal purposes. Jason and Brenda were longtime frenemies because of her romantic history with Sonny Corinthos, Maurice Bernard. Brenda and Jason were always bickering on General Hospital. They only married so they didn't have to testify against each other after Jason Morgan killed Luis Alcazar, Ted King. Once the charges were dropped, Jason and firecracker Brenda were able to annul their marital ties. That left Jason Morgan free to marry the woman his heart belonged to, his second wife, Courtney Matthews, Alicia Leigh Willis, on General Hospital. General Hospital recaps recall Jason Morgan fell for Sonny's sister Courtney. After several setbacks, they married in France. However, their marriage got off to a rough start because there was always a crisis. Courtney couldn't handle the violence anymore, and after a near-death experience, Courtney was terrified. She and Jason Morgan realized their union was not meant to be, and they divorced. Soon after, Stone Cold met Sam McCall, Kelly Monaco, when she was pregnant with Sonny's child. He took care of Sam throughout her pregnancy, recalled General Hospital recaps. Then, Sam went into labor prematurely, and her baby was stillborn. Jason Morgan was there for Sam as she grieved her baby. And that was the beginning of Jason. Down the road, they made it official and said "I do" at the Noodle Buddha. Of course, it's been a bumpy road over the years, and they're always torn apart. But they find their way back to each other. They're currently facing a rough patch, but there's always a chance Sam and Jason's love could prevail on General Hospital. GE spoilers know certain women will always have a place in Jason's heart. Even though they didn't make it to marriage, they were profound relationships in Stone Cold's life. He and Elizabeth Weber, Rebecca Herbst, were crazy about each other on General Hospital back in the day. They also share a son, Jake Weber, Hudson West. To this day, they still have a deep bond. Liaison fans everywhere would rejoice if Liz and Stone Cold were to reunite. However, before Elizabeth, there was Robin Scorpio, Kimberly McCullough. Robin and Jason were childhood sweethearts and had an intense and genuine love. And they still care about each other deeply on General Hospital. And of course, there will always be Carly Corinthos, Laura Wright. Even though their romance was cut short, they are still incredibly close and the best of friends. Jason and Carly have a unique bond. And there's a thin line between love and friendship with Charlie. Now, with Sonny missing, Carly and her bestie may find themselves crossing that line. Be sure not to miss a moment of GH to see Jason Morgan in action as his life changes drastically on the ABC soap opera. Jason Morgan has always been one of Port Charles' most iconic, complicated, and emotionally torn characters. He's the ultimate ride or die, the man with the leather jacket, the enforcer's code of silence, and a heart that, despite his stone-cold exterior, has been broken and rebuilt more times than most fans can count. Through decades of mob wars, secret children, tragic deaths, and long-awaited returns from the dead, one thing has remained constant in his story: his undeniable pull toward love. While Jason Morgan may not have had dozens of marriages, the few times he did walk down the aisle carried huge emotional weight for both the character and the audience. So how many times was Jason Morgan actually married? That answer, though simple on paper, gets more complex once you dive into the drama behind each "I do." General Hospital spoilers, flashbacks, and fandom history all point to one undeniable truth. When Jason Morgan loves, he loves fiercely, deeply, and for keeps, even when fate and bullets have other plans. The first time Jason Morgan officially married someone was back in 2003, and it was far from the romantic fairy tale that fans may have wanted for him. His bride? Courtney Matthews, the younger sister of Sonny Corinthos. That alone made the union a bomb waiting to go off. Courtney was strong-willed, independent, and exactly the kind of woman who challenged Jason's stoicism. Their chemistry was intense, fast-burning, and filled with complications, mainly because Jason's loyalty to Sonny always loomed in the background, and Courtney faced constant interference, not just from Sonny, but from Carly, mob violence, and Courtney's desire for a life outside the shadows of Port Charles' criminal underworld. Still, the two married, hoping their love could overcome the obstacles. But the reality of Jason's lifestyle quickly became too much. Even though the ceremony was real, and their feelings were genuine, the marriage didn't last. It ended in divorce, not due to a lack of love, but because love wasn't enough to protect them from the chaos surrounding their world. After Courtney, Jason's most deeply rooted love was undeniably Sam McCall. Their relationship defined an entire era of General Hospital and became one of the soap's most legendary pairings. From the moment Jason helped Sam through the heartbreak of losing her baby with Sonny, a new chapter began, one where their bond was tested time and again. They survived mob hits, comas, drownings, custody battles, memory loss, and literally coming back from the dead. And yet, despite all the years and all the pain, fans always circle back to one question: were they ever really married? The answer is yes, but not right away. Jason and Sam were together for years before they finally made their union official. Their first wedding was in 2011, a quiet rooftop ceremony that was supposed to symbolize a peaceful future. But of course, peace doesn't last long in Port Charles. The couple later discovered that their wedding wasn't legally binding, and once that was corrected, their marriage became official. However, happiness was short-lived. Sam's pregnancy with Danny, the tragic belief that her baby had died, and the eventual revelation that he, the Weber, had switched the babies created enormous strain. But their love endured. Even after Jason's presumed death and years of separation, they found their way back to each other again. Their final official marriage came after Jason's return from captivity, but even then, obstacles like Drew Kane, Peter August, and Sam's desire to protect her kids from danger drove them apart once more. That brings us to Jason's most recent and most shocking marriage, his wedding to Carly Corinthos. Yes, that Carly. Longtime best friend. Confidant. The woman he's always protected, lied for, and, in the eyes of some fans, should have married years ago. But when they finally tied the knot, it wasn't for love. At least, not at first. The 2021 wedding between Jason and Carly was presented as a strategic power move to unify the Corinthos crime family following Sonny's presumed death. With Cyrus Renault and the Novak family circling like vultures, Jason and Carly decided that the only way to protect their people was to combine their names and their power, legally and publicly. But what started as a business arrangement quickly became something more. Feelings that had long been buried began to surface. Glances lingered. Touches meant more. By the time Sonny made his dramatic return from Nixon Falls, Jason and Carly were emotionally entangled in a way neither expected. The fight was explosive. Sonny was furious. Carly was torn. Jason was guilt-ridden. But fans? Fans were divided. Some cheered for Jason and Carly finally becoming more than best friends. Others saw it as a betrayal of Jason and Sam's long love story. And some just wanted Sonny to reclaim his life and leave the drama behind. Regardless of public opinion, the Jason-Carly marriage was real, emotional, and ended not long after Sonny's return forced them to confront the truth. They loved each other, but not in a way that could erase Sonny. So how many times was Jason married? The confirmed, legally recognized marriages were 3. First to Courtney Matthews, then to Sam McCall, and most recently to Carly Corinthos. But Jason's life can't be defined by paperwork alone. His connections, emotional and otherwise, ran deeper than many of his formal vows. What about Elizabeth Weber? For a time, it seemed inevitable that she would be Mrs. Jason Morgan. They had a deep friendship turned romance. They shared a son, Jake, and despite lies, betrayals, and secrets, including the infamous Jake Doe identity confusion, when she knew Jason was alive and said nothing, they remained tethered by something more powerful than labels. But they were never married. Not legally. Not in any way that counted on paper. Still, the bond was real. And
Though
let's
Jason
not forget
never married
Robin
her.
Scorpio. She was one of his first and most defining loves. She helped him become who he was after his accident stole his identity as Jason Quartermain. Their relationship was built on trust, healing, and young love that felt like forever. But the real world, and the dangers of Jason's life, pulled them apart. Yet the respect, the affection, and the what-if lingered for years. It always felt like Robin might have been the one, had life unfolded differently. Through it all, Jason's marriages reflect who he was at every stage of his journey. With Courtney, he was a man trying to balance love and loyalty. With Sam, he found a partner in crime and a soulmate through fire and fury. With Carly, he stepped up to protect the family name and found complicated truths about what love and friendship really meant. Whether fans are rooting for Jason, Carson, Liason, or even something entirely new now that Jason has returned yet again, one thing is certain. Jason Morgan loves hard, marries with meaning, and always leaves a legacy, both romantic and personal, that reshapes the lives of those around him. And with Jason now back in Port Charles once again, his past marriages may not be the end of the story. Rumors are already swirling. Could a reconciliation with Sam be on the horizon? Would Carly dare risk everything to reignite the passion they only briefly allowed to blossom? Or could someone new emerge to challenge Jason in a way he's never experienced before? It's General Hospital, and anything is possible. But no matter what the future holds, fans will never forget the marriages that defined him. 3 women wore his ring. All of them changed his life. And the story's not over yet. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our YouTube channel for more update news.